The first thing Donald noticed was not the food. It was the sound of plates, clink, clink, clink. The small restaurant in Victoria Island was noisy with people, laughter and soft music from a speaker in the corner. But that sharp sound of plates hitting each other cut through everything, and somehow it pulled his eyes toward the kitchen door. And then he saw her, standing by a metal sink, water running, plates stacked high beside her, was a woman with a familiar face. Her hair was tied back in a rough bun. Soap bubbles ran down her dark, tired hands. Her simple brown gown was wet at the front, and there was a small tear near the hem. She kept her head down as she washed, like someone who had learned how to become invisible. But nothing could hide that face from him. Donald froze. His heart jumped in his chest. It can't be. The waitress in a yellow shirt was still talking beside him, asking, "Sir, should we bring your starter now, or—" Donald did not hear her. He was staring at the woman at the sink, like he had just seen a ghost from another life. The woman looked up for a second to place a clean plate on the rack. Their eyes met. For one short moment, time stopped. The noise of the restaurant faded. The smell of jollof rice and fried fish disappeared. The bright lights above seemed far away. All he could see were her eyes, those same soft brown eyes that once looked out of a secondary school classroom window, many years ago. His throat went dry. "Victory?" Donald whispered, his voice shaking. The plate in her hand slipped. Crash! The sound of the plate shattering on the floor made everyone turn. Heads swung toward the kitchen door. The music kept playing, but the air changed. A sharp voice cut through the room. "Victory!" the restaurant manager shouted from somewhere inside the kitchen. "How many plates will you break this week? Are you mad?" Victory's shoulders flinched. Her eyes left Donald's face immediately. She bent down in a rush, trying to pick up the broken pieces before anyone could step on them. "I'm sorry, sir," she said quickly, her voice small and frightened. "I'm very sorry, sir." The manager, a round-bellied man with an angry face, marched to the doorway. He glared at her, then at the broken plate, then at the customers staring. "If you spoil my business today, I will send you back to where I picked you from," he barked. "Do you hear me?" Donald's hands tightened into fists under the table. He had come here for one simple reason. The head chef, a famous young cook, had begged him to try his new recipes. As one of the youngest tech billionaires in Lagos, Donald Smith was used to people begging for his attention. Normally, he hated the noise, but today, he was glad he came. Because today, he had found victory. His victory. Or what was left of her. As Victory straightened slowly, still looking at the floor, the manager hissed and turned back into the kitchen. The customers went back to their food. The sound of forks and spoons returned to normal. But nothing was normal inside Donald's chest. He pushed his chair back. The waitress jumped. "Sir, is everything okay?" Donald ignored her. He stood up, eyes fixed on the woman by the sink. The girl he once dreamed about, the girl he thought he would never see again. The girl he had promised himself, at 16 years old, that he would one day confess his feelings to. And now, she was washing plates in a noisy restaurant, being shouted at like a useless stranger. "What happened to you, Victory?" Donald took one step toward her, then another. His mind was racing, but his legs moved on their own. With each step, his memory began to open. And the story went back in time, many years earlier, long before the Billionaire title, long before the shining towers of his tech company. Donald Smith was just a secondary schoolboy in Port Harcourt. He grew up in a world of plenty. His father, Chief Smith Anderson, was a business tycoon in the automobile world. Car showrooms, spare parts warehouses, contracts with big companies. Money flowed around their family like water. His mother, Ashley, was elegant and kind, always smelling of soft perfume, always in a neat wrapper or English gown. Their mansion in GRA had tall white walls, a big black gate, and a driver who opened the car door for him every morning. Donald went to one of the best secondary schools in the city, air-conditioned classrooms, neat uniforms, big football field. Most of his classmates were from rich homes too, but even among them, Donald stood out. He was the boy everybody wanted to sit with. He was tall, handsome, always neat in his white shirt and grey trousers. His smile came easy. His jokes were sharp, but not wicked. Teachers liked him because he was smart. Students liked him because he was kind and confident. He played football well. He answered questions in class. He never bullied anyone. If life was a movie, Donald was the boy in the center of the screen. Girls in his class whispered his name when he walked past. Some wrote his name inside their notebooks and covered it with stickers. He got secret love notes in his locker. But Donald never paid much attention. He smiled at everyone, but his heart was free. Until SS2. That was the year she walked into his life. Her name was Victory. She joined their class in the middle of the term. The principal introduced her one hot Monday morning. "Class, we have a new student," the principal said, wiping sweat from his forehead. "Her name is Victory Okafor. Please make her feel welcome." Victory stepped into the classroom slowly. She wore the same grey uniform as the other girls, but somehow it looked different on her. Her dark skin glowed. Her eyes were big and bright, like they were always asking silent questions. Her hair was neatly packed into simple cornrows. She held her books close to her chest, like a shield. Some girls looked at her with curiosity. Others looked at her with small, jealous eyes. "She's pretty," someone whispered. Donald agreed in his heart. Victory sat near the window, in the second row from the back. She kept her head down and wrote carefully in her notes. She did not raise her hand to answer questions at first. She did not join the loud group at break time. She had only one or two friends. Quiet girls. Serious girls. But for some reason, Donald's eyes always found her. When the class was noisy, his gaze drifted to where she sat, calmly copying notes. When someone cracked a joke and everybody laughed, he watched to see if she would smile. Sometimes, he caught her staring out of the window during double periods, her eyes far away, like her mind was somewhere else. He wanted to talk to her. He wanted to ask, "Why did you join our school late? Where did you come from? What do you like? Do you also hate Monday tests?" But each time he tried to go near her, something happened. A teacher would call him. His friends would drag him to discuss football. Or his chest would suddenly feel tight and his tongue would forget how to talk. For the first time in his life, the coolest boy in class did not know how to walk up to a girl. Weeks turned into months. Victory became more comfortable in class. She began to answer questions. Her voice was soft but clear. She was smart. Very smart. Sometimes she even beat Donald in mathematics and computer science. He liked that. He liked the way she frowned when she was thinking. He liked the way she laughed quietly with her two friends during break, not too loud, not too proud. His friends teased him. "Chairman, are you sure you don't like that new girl?" one of them asked one day on the field. Donald pretended to be cool. "Which girl?" "The one that always sits near the window, Victory." He rolled his eyes and kicked the ball. "You people like gist too much." But inside, he knew. He liked her. More than he wanted to admit. He told himself that after exams, he would talk to her. Maybe he would even tell her the truth. "Hi, Victory. I think about you a lot. Can we be close friends?" He practiced lines in his head many times. Then, one Monday morning, he walked into class and felt something was wrong. Victory's seat by the window was empty. Her desk was clean, no books, No pen, no school bag. During assembly, he waited to see her in the line with other SS2 girls. She was not there. During break, he asked one of her friends, "Where is Victory? Is she sick?" The girl looked sad. "She has left the school. Her guardian came last week Friday and withdrew her." Donald's ears rang. "Left," he repeated. "To where?" "I don't know," the girl said, biting her lip. "They just said she had to go. She didn't even say goodbye." That whole day, Donald could not focus. He kept staring at the empty seat by the window. He did not know her home address. He did not have her phone number. He did not have her on social media. She had been like a quiet dream. And now she was gone. Just like that. For years after that, whenever he passed their old classroom, he remembered the girl who disappeared, the girl he never got to talk to, the girl named Victory. Now, many years later, in that noisy restaurant in Victoria Island, Donald stood only a few steps away from her. The empty school seat had become a wet metal sink. The quiet girl by the window had become a tired woman in a stained brown gown, washing plates for a shouting manager. He swallowed hard. "Victory," he said again, louder this time. She stiffened. Slowly, she lifted her head. Her eyes met his once more. And this time, instead of dropping the plate, she whispered in a shaky voice, "Please, sir, if I offended you, don't let them sack me. I have nowhere else to go." Donald's heart crashed inside his chest. Nowhere else to go. Before he could answer, the manager's voice roared again from behind the kitchen door. "Victory, after you finish there, come and mop this whole place. Or you can carry your load and go back to the street you came from." Donald turned sharply toward the kitchen doorway, his jaw tightening, and a dangerous idea slowly formed in his mind. The manager's voice echoed through the restaurant like thunder. "Victory, if you don't hurry up and mop this floor, you will sleep outside today. Do you hear me?" Customers pretended not to look, but they were listening. Some shook their heads, others whispered, but nobody said a word. Nobody, Sanji, except Donald. His jaw tightened and a slow heat rose inside his chest, something between anger and disbelief. He looked at Victory again. Her shoulders were shaking slightly. She blinked fast, as if trying to hold back tears. She wasn't even looking at him anymore. She was rushing to rinse the plates quickly before the manager returned. It was like she was afraid of losing the only thing she had left. No, he couldn't stand there and watch her suffer. Not her, not Victory. He stepped closer until he was right in front of the sink. "Victory," he said softly. She froze. Slowly she turned her face toward him. When her eyes met his, she still didn't recognize him. She only looked scared. "I'm sorry, sir," she said again. "Give me just 2 minutes. I will clean whatever you want me to clean. Please don't report me." Donald's heart squeezed. She thought he was a customer about to complain. She didn't even realize he knew her. He took a gentle breath. "Victory, it's me. Donald. Donald Smith." Her eyes widened slightly, as if the name touched something distant in her memory. "Donald Smith," she whispered. He nodded. Her lips parted in shock, but before she could say anything, the manager stormed into the washing area. He didn't even look at Donald. He pointed directly at her. "You again?" the man barked. "I said mop the whole floor. Customers are stepping in and you're here gossiping." "She's not gossiping," Donald said calmly. The manager turned. "And you, who are you?" His words stopped mid-air. His eyes dropped to Donald's wristwatch, then his shoes, then his face. Recognition hit him like cold water. Everyone in the restaurant knew Donald Smith, one of the youngest tech billionaires in Africa. The face behind the biggest logistics tech startup in Lagos. The man swallowed and stepped back. "Ah, sir." Good evening, sir. You came to eat, sir? You should have told us earlier. Is this how you speak to your staff?" Donald asked, voice steady but dangerously calm. The manager jolted. No. No, sir. Not at all, sir. Victory just what? Donald asked. Victory took a small step back. Terrified that she might get him more angry, the manager forced a smile. Sir, it's small misunderstanding. She's a good girl. Hard-working, very hard-working. Donald turned to Victory. Can we talk outside? She looked confused. Talk? With me? Yes, he said gently. With you. But sir, I need to finish the plates before... I said, Donald repeated, can we talk outside? The manager jumped in quickly. Yes, she can go. Take as much time as you want, sir. Victory looked stunned, like she was dreaming. Donald stepped back to give her space. She wiped her wet hands on her apron, untied it shakily, and followed him through the restaurant. Customers watched with wide eyes as the billionaire and the dishwasher walked out together. Outside, the evening breeze was cool and soft. Streetlights glowed across the quiet lane. Donald leaned slightly against his black SUV, while Victory stood a few steps away, unsure if she should come closer or keep distance. She held her hands together tightly. She looked smaller than she used to look in school. More fragile, more tired, more broken, and something in Donald's heart hurt badly at the sight. He took a breath. Victory, do you remember me? From secondary school. She blinked slowly. SS2, class, Government Secondary School, Port Harcourt. Right? Yes. I remember you, she whispered. Everyone knew you. You were like the star in class. Donald smiled softly. And you were the girl who always sat by the window and copied notes with the neatest handwriting I had ever seen. Her cheeks warmed slightly, but her eyes lowered again. Why are you here, Victory? He finally asked. That question broke her. Her shoulders dropped, her throat tightened, and tears filled her eyes before she could stop them. Donald stepped closer, slowly, so he wouldn't scare her. You can tell me, he said softly. I'm listening. Her lips trembled. She took a shaky breath. Then her story began. Her voice was soft, but filled with pain. After I left school, everything went wrong. Donald listened quietly. My parents died, Donald, she said, tears dropping slowly, both of them, at the same time. His stomach tightened. How? In a car accident, she whispered. But that wasn't the whole story. She wiped her tears quickly and continued. My father had a business partner, Mr. Isaac. I heard you mention his name sometimes back in school. You might know him. Donald searched his memory and nodded slowly. Yes, my father signed one contract with him once. He is influential. Victory nodded painfully. He pretended to help after my parents died, but instead he took everything. How? Donald asked. Fraud, she whispered. He forged documents. He transferred my father's company, his lands, even the house. Everything became his. Donald's jaw clenched. You reported? He asked. We tried, but nobody listened. He had money, he had power, and I had nothing. Her voice broke again. I was 17 when I lost everything. I became homeless. I worked anywhere they allowed me. Cleaning, serving, carrying things, anything. She looked down at her hands. The same hands that used to hold textbooks, now covered with dish soap. I only came to this restaurant 3 months ago. They don't pay me much, but at least they give me food. Something sharp twisted inside Donald's chest. He could tell she wasn't telling this story for pity. She was telling it because she had carried the pain alone for too long. He looked at her carefully, the girl he once admired, now fighting for survival at a kitchen sink. And in that moment, something changed inside him. A decision. A quiet but powerful decision. Victory, he said softly. You're not going back inside that place today." She looked up, eyes wide in fear. "But if I don't work, they will sack me." "No," Donald said firmly. "You're coming with me." She stepped back. I don't understand." Donald opened the car door for her. "You said Mr. Isaac took everything from you?" he asked. She nodded slowly. "Then I'm going to find out exactly what he took, and how he took it." Her breath caught. "Donald, why? Why would you help me? I'm just Victory," he said gently. She swallowed hard. He smiled faintly. "You have no idea how long I have waited to see you again." Her heart jumped, but before she could speak, a familiar angry voice stormed from the restaurant door. "Victory, if you don't—" The manager stopped when he saw her standing beside the billionaire's car. Donald turned his head slowly. His eyes were cold. "Is there a problem?" he asked. The manager shook instantly. No, sir. No problem, sir. She can go." "Good," Donald said. "Because she's done working for you." He got into the driver's seat and waited. Victory stood frozen. She looked at the restaurant. She looked at Donald. She looked at her worn shoes. Then she whispered, "Okay." She got into the car. Donald locked the doors, and as they drove away, Victory looked back at the restaurant, the place she had been trapped in for months. Her voice shook as she asked, "Donald, where are we going?" He looked straight ahead. "To get justice," he said quietly. "For you." Victory gasped softly, but she didn't know. Donald was about to uncover a truth that would shake both their lives, and the first secret he would discover was even darker than she imagined. Donald's car moved smoothly through the quiet streets of Victoria Island, but Victory's heart felt anything but calm. Her fingers twisted together on her lap. She kept glancing at the door, the window, the mirror, everywhere except at Donald. She couldn't believe what was happening. One minute she was washing plates. The next minute she was sitting inside a billionaire's SUV. She swallowed, her voice shaky. "Donald, are you sure? This is okay?" He looked at her briefly. "Victory, you've suffered long enough. Tonight we start fixing that. But you don't have to." "I want to," he said firmly but softly. She lowered her eyes, unsure how to respond. Donald took a slow breath. "We're going to my office. My private team works late. They'll start digging immediately." Victory's brows pulled together. "Digging? What?" "The truth," he said, "and I promise you, Victory, we will find it." As the car glided through the night, Victory watched the tall buildings flash by. She knew Donald's family was wealthy. Everyone knew Chief Smith Anderson, the automobile giant with showrooms across Lagos, Abuja, and Port Harcourt. But Donald was something else. He didn't follow his father's footsteps. He built his own world: tech, apps, softwares, logistics. A company valued at billions. His childhood wealth might have given him a start, but his brain, his hard work, and his stubborn determination were what made him the youngest African tech billionaire, and tonight he was using all that power for her. Victory felt her throat tighten. 30 minutes later, they arrived at Donald's private office building. The huge glass doors opened as the security guard bowed slightly. "Good evening, sir." Donald nodded. "She's with me." Inside, everything shined. The polished floor, the gold lighting, the large screens glowing on the walls. Victory held her old bag close to her chest, feeling small in a world too bright for her. But Donald walked beside her, slow and steady, matching her steps so she wouldn't feel left behind. They reached the top floor, his personal workroom. As the elevator doors opened, Victory gasped softly. The entire wall was glass, showing the whole of Lagos glittering like stars. Donald noticed. "Beautiful, right?" She nodded gently. I've never seen the city from this high before." He smiled faintly. "You'll see more soon." Before she could ask what he meant, the door opened and two men entered. His top investigators, David and Dre. "Boss," David said, "we came as fast as we could." Donald pointed at Victory. "This is Victory Okafor. Her father died in a suspicious accident years ago. All his properties ended up under his business partner's name. I want everything about that man. Tonight." The investigators nodded instantly. "Yes, sir. What's his name?" Victory swallowed. "Mr. Isaac Ease." David stopped writing. Dre turned slowly. "Sir," Dre said, "are you sure?" "Why?" Donald asked. David looked uncomfortable. "Mr. Isaac is extremely powerful. He has politicians behind him, and people who cross him usually regret it." Donald's eyes darkened. "That's his problem, not mine." Victory watched him, amazed at how fearless he looked, but the investigators still hesitated. "Boss, digging into that man may expose dangerous things." Donald stood straighter. "Good. That means there's something to find." His voice left no room for argument. David sighed. "We'll start immediately." Dre nodded. "We'll run background checks, property transfers, business records, and anything hidden." Victory whispered, "Thank you." David smiled kindly. "We'll help you, Mom. Don't worry." 1 hour later, the investigators returned with their laptops, faces stiff and serious. "Boss, you need to see this," David said. Victory's heart raced. The room grew silent as Dre connected the laptop to the big screen. Images, documents, dates, maps, and then a blurry photo appeared. A car, smashed beyond recognition. Victory's breath stopped. That's the car my parents died in," she whispered. Donald moved closer to her, his hand gently touching her arm. "It's okay, I'm right here." Dre clicked the next file. A report popped up, but the heading made Donald's jaw tighten. Victory blinked. "Modified? What does that mean?" David answered slowly. "It means the accident report you saw back then was not the real one." Victory's hand flew to her mouth. Donald's eyes hardened. "Explain." Dre pulled up the real report, the one hidden from the public. "This," he said softly, "is the original version. It was buried." Victory leaned forward, tears forming already. On the screen was the truth she never imagined. Her parents' car did not veer off the road by mistake. It was pushed, hit from behind, twice. Donald's fists clenched so tightly his knuckles turned pale. David continued, "The investigation officer wrote this in the hidden file. The impact marks suggest a deliberate hit. But after that, the officer was removed from the case." Victory covered her face with her hands. Dre added quietly, "And the man who replaced him is related to Mr. Isaac." Victory couldn't breathe. Her heart pounded loudly in her ears. This wasn't just an accident. It was planned. A setup. Donald stepped closer and placed a warm, steady hand on her back. "Victory," he whispered, "they murdered your parents." She broke into tears. Painful, silent, shaking tears. Donald pulled her gently into his chest. She didn't resist. She cried harder, holding on to his shirt. For years, she thought she lost her parents to a sad accident. But now, the truth was colder, darker, and unbearable. Donald whispered softly, "I'm here. You're not alone." Her voice trembled against his chest. "Why would he do this? Why? What did we ever do to him?" Donald's eyes became sharp. "We're going to find out." As Victory wiped her tears, David hesitated. "There's something else," he said. Donald's eyes narrowed. "What?" Dre clicked to the next document. It showed a list of properties, companies, and accounts. all originally owned by the Okafor family, all transferred to Mr. Isaac, all signed with the same forged pattern. Victory felt her knees weaken. But then, Dre zoomed into the signature, and Donald's eyes widened. "That," he whispered, "is not Mr. Isaac's handwriting." David nodded. "Yes, sir. We cross-checked. It belongs to someone else." "Who?" Donald demanded. David pressed a key. A photo appeared on the screen. Victory gasped so loudly she almost choked. "No," she whispered. "Why is his face there?" Donald's eyes widened too. On the screen was a man from Victory's childhood, a man who used to smile with her family, a man she trusted, a man she never expected to see, a man who was supposed to protect her parents. "Victory," Donald whispered, staring at the screen in shock. "Do you know this man?" She nodded slowly, trembling. "That's my father's closest friend," she whispered. "He was like an uncle to me." Her voice shook. "But I thought he died 10 years ago." The investigators exchanged looks. Dre whispered, "He didn't die, Victory." David added, "He's alive." A heartbeat of silence. Then Dre said the words that turned her whole world upside down. "And according to our records, he is still working with Mr. Isaac." Victory's mouth fell open, her body froze. Donald stared at the screen. The room felt colder. The lights seemed dimmer. And Victory finally whispered the words that cracked her soul. "Uncle, Chinedu, betrayed us." Her voice broke completely. Donald stepped closer, eyes burning with anger and protectiveness. "Victory," he said quietly. "Yes," she whispered. "This isn't just a case anymore." She looked up into his eyes. "This is war." Victory stood frozen in front of the glowing screen, her breath trapped in her chest. "Uncle Chinedu, the man who used to carry her on his shoulders, the man who always brought biscuits when visiting their home, the man who promised to always look after her, was alive, and worse. He was working with the man who stole her entire life." Her voice trembled. "Dear Donald, why would he lie? Why would he fake his death? Why would he help destroy my family?" Donald stepped close. His eyes locked on hers, steady, firm, protective. "Victory, we're going to get every answer." Before she could speak, the investigators exchanged a nervous glance. Dre cleared his throat. "Sir, there's something more. Something we discovered just a few minutes ago." Donald stiffened. "What is it?" David turned the laptop back to the big screen. A new page appeared, this time with financial documents, coded transfers, encrypted messages. And then, a single line glowed in red, confidential, funds from Okafor. Estate diverted, destination unknown. Victory's heart pounded hard. "What does that mean?" Dre zoomed in. "This means that before your parents died," he explained slowly, "your father was moving money out of the company, secretly." Victory blinked. "My father? Why?" "He was an honest man." "Yes," Dre said softly, "and that may be why." Donald's expression changed, suddenly sharper, suddenly alert. "Are you saying they knew something?" David nodded grimly. "We believe your father discovered Mr. Isaac was planning something illegal, something big, and he tried to move part of the company funds into a private account, maybe to protect it." Dre added quietly, "But Mr. Isaac found out." Donald clenched his jaw. "That's when he set up the accident," he said, "to remove them and take everything." Victory covered her mouth with both hands as tears filled her eyes again. Her family died trying to keep the truth safe. Her parents weren't victims of fate. They were victims of greed. Donald moved to her side and placed a supportive hand on her shoulder, but the investigators were not done. "There's another part you need to see," David said carefully. He tapped a key. A new image filled the screen, and Victory's knees almost buckled. It was a video screenshot. A familiar man, a familiar smile. Uncle Chinedu, standing beside Mr. Isaac, laughing, shaking hands, signing papers. She whispered, "No." Her whole body trembled. Her fingers shook violently. Donald quickly guided her to a chair so she wouldn't collapse. "Victory, breathe," he whispered, kneeling beside her. But she couldn't. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't think. Her childhood hero, her second father, the man who held her hand at her mother's funeral, had been pretending all along. David spoke softly. "We compared the forged signatures on the property documents. They match his handwriting." Dre added, "He is the one who helped Mr. Isaac transfer everything." Victory choked on a sob. Donald placed his hands on her shoulders, grounding her. "I won't let you face this alone, I promise you that." But then, the true bombshell dropped. Dre clicked another file. This was hidden deep inside an encrypted folder, but we unlocked it. A message appeared on the screen. A message dated 3 days before her parents died. It was from her father. 2V Oka 4. Subject, "Read this only if something happens to us." Victory sat up straight. Her father wrote something for her. Her hands shook as she whispered, "Open it." Dre tapped the screen. The letter opened. Victory gasped. Donald tightened his grip on her arm. The letter read, "Victory, my beautiful daughter, if you are reading this, it means danger has come too close. There are people I once trusted who no longer wish us well. If anything happens to us, don't trust Mr. Isaac, and don't trust Chinedu. He is not who he pretends to be. Stay far away from them, and when you are old enough, find help. Someone kind will help you. Your mother and I love you more than life itself." Dad Victory broke completely. Her entire body shook as she sobbed into her hands. Her father knew. He tried to warn her, but she never saw the message, because the phone it was sent to was taken away the day after the accident. Donald pulled her gently into his chest. Her tears soaked his shirt, but he didn't care. "This ends tonight," he whispered fiercely. "I'm going after them." David hesitated. "Sir, there's more." Donald nodded tightly. "Say it." Dre looked straight at Victory. "Mr. Isaac has a private meeting tomorrow, in Ikoyi." Victory blinked through tears. "A meeting about what?" David lowered his voice. "About selling the last company your father built." Victory froze. The room went silent. Her father's final company, the one he named after her mother, was still standing. It was the only thing left untouched, because it was under a hidden branch. Donald's eyes narrowed sharply. "And Mr. Isaac wants to sell it?" David nodded. "Yes, and once he does, Victory will never get it back, ever." Victory covered her mouth, trembling. "I can't lose that too," she whispered. Donald stood up slowly. His voice was cold, sharp, dangerous. "You won't." He took a step toward the door. Victory stood quickly, frightened. "Donald, where are you going?" He turned back, eyes blazing. "To stop him," he said, "and to make him confess everything." "But tomorrow's meeting," she whispered. "It will be guarded. He will not let outsiders." Donald smiled, a cold, determined smile. "That's why I won't go as an outsider." Victory frowned. "What do you mean?" He leaned closer, close enough for her to feel the intensity in his voice. "I'm going undercover," he said, "and I'll drag the truth out of him with my own hands." Victory's eyes widened in fear. "Donald, no. It's too dangerous. I'm doing it," he said firmly. "For you." Her lips trembled. She looked at him with fear, gratitude, confusion, and something deeper she couldn't name. "Donald, please be careful." He held her gaze for a long moment. Then he whispered, "For you, Victory. I'll face anything." The investigators exchanged worried glances. Victory held her breath. And just when the tension could not rise any higher, Donald's phone buzzed violently. He glanced at it, then his face changed completely. He looked up slowly, eyes wide. Dre stepped closer. "Sir, what is it?" Donald swallowed hard. "It's a message from an unknown number," he said. Victory whispered, "What does it say?" Donald turned the screen for all of them to see. One single text message, one sentence, a warning. "If you keep digging into the Okafor case, Victory will not see tomorrow morning." Victory's heart dropped. Donald's jaw locked in rage, and the room exploded with fear, dead silent. Victory stared at the message on Donald's phone, her lips trembling. "If you keep digging into the Okafor case, Victory will not see tomorrow morning." Her knees weakened instantly. Someone wanted her dead. Again. Donald felt her shake beside him and immediately pulled her close, his hand firm around her shoulder. "Victory," he whispered softly. "Look at me." She lifted her terrified eyes. "No one will touch you," Donald said, voice strong and steady. "Not while I'm breathing." His determination filled the room like electricity. David and Dre exchanged glances, then stepped forward. "Sir, we have to move now," David said. "This threat means they know we're close." Donald nodded once. "Get the car. We're going to that meeting tonight." Victory gasped. Tonight? But Donald, it's dangerous." He cupped her face gently with both hands. "I will not let them take anything else from you. Not your life, not your future, not your father's last company. Tonight, this ends." She swallowed hard. "Then I'm going with you," she whispered. "No." Donald shook his head instantly. "You stay here where it's safe." "But it's my family," she whispered. "I know," he replied softly, "but I need you alive." David cleared his throat. "We can keep her in the secure room. It's locked from inside. No one gets in." Victory looked into Donald's eyes, those same eyes that once stared at her shyly in SS2. Only now they were older, stronger, filled with fire. "Promise me you'll come back," she whispered. He held her gaze firmly. "I swear it." 20 minutes later, Donald was in a black suit, no tie, hair slicked like a silent storm was hiding under it. He sat in the back of the SUV, eyes cold with focus. David drove. Dre monitored the phone signals and cameras. Victory watched from the top floor window, hands pressed to the glass, praying silently. The meeting was at an abandoned luxury resort in Ikoyi, quiet, secluded, perfect for secret deals. The SUV stopped a few meters away. Donald stepped out slowly. "Sir," David whispered, "remember, Mr. Isaac thinks you want to buy the Okafor company. That's your cover." Donald nodded. "And once we have him speaking freely, we record everything," Dre added. Donald tapped his chest. "Mic is on." Then he walked toward the building. Alone, the large hall was dimly lit. 2 men sat behind a long table, Mr. Isaac and... Victory's breath caught as she watched on the live camera feed. Uncle Chinedu, her betrayer, the one she thought was dead. Donald stopped a few feet away. Mr. Isaac smiled slickly. "Ah, Mr. Smith, we've heard a lot about your interest." Donald kept his face expressionless. "I'm here for the Okafor company. You said you wanted to sell." Mr. Isaac nodded. "Yes, it's time to let it go. The owners are gone." Uncle Chinedu chuckled darkly. "Long gone." Donald's jaw tightened, but he stayed calm. "I want details," he said. Mr. Isaac smirked. "Well, Victory Okafor's father was stubborn. He refused to follow my advice. He was planning to move money into a private account, behind my back. Disloyal, Chinedu added. And that car accident, Donald asked casually. Sad story. Mr. Isaac laughed softly. Sad? No. Smart. Donald's blood boiled, but he didn't blink. Mr. Isaac leaned in proudly. We had to teach him a lesson. We hired someone to hit the car from behind. Twice. Clean job. No fingerprints. By the time people checked, I already had all the documents transferred. Donald's eyes sharpened. And Chinedu? Mr. Isaac slapped Chinedu's back. The best partner ever. We staged his fake death. He continued the business with a new identity. Couldn't risk suspicion. Donald's heart pounded. This was the confession they needed. Then Mr. Isaac laughed again. And that little Victory? I heard she's somewhere washing plates. Good. She's better off invisible. Donald's fist slowly curled. Now, Mr. Isaac said, opening a briefcase, if you want the company, let's talk price. Donald raised his hand slowly and said one sentence. I have enough. Mr. Isaac frowned. What? Donald's voice dropped low and dangerous. I didn't come here to buy anything. Then he tapped his earpiece. David, he said calmly, send the police in. The doors burst open. Police officers stormed the room. Freeze! You are under arrest. Mr. Isaac jumped back in shock. What is the meaning of this? Chinedu tried to run. Donald grabbed him by the collar and slammed him onto the table. You murdered innocent people, Donald roared. Chinedu cried out. It was Isaac. He planned everything. Isaac screamed. Lie. He forged the signatures. Donald snapped back. We recorded everything you both just said. The officers handcuffed them instantly. Isaac's face turned pale. You tricked me. Donald stared at him coldly. You destroyed a family. Now you face justice. As they dragged the men away, Donald exhaled shakily. It was done. Back at the office, Victory sat on the floor of the secure room, hugging her knees, shaking. The door opened. Footsteps approached. She looked up. Her eyes widened, and she burst into tears. Donald! She ran into his arms before she could think. He held her tightly, breathing hard, as if he had been holding his own breath until he saw her again. It's over, he whispered into her hair. They confessed everything. She cried harder, but these tears were different. Relief, freedom, light. What? What will happen now? She whispered. Donald pulled back gently and wiped her tears with his thumb. Mr. Isaac and Chinedu are going to jail. Forever, she whispered. Forever, he said, and your father's company, all his properties, every single thing he built, will be returned to you. Victory gasped softly. She covered her mouth. Donald, I don't know what to say. You don't have to say anything, he said softly. I'm just glad you're safe. She stared at him for a long moment. Then her voice dropped to a shaky whisper. Why did you fight so hard for me? Why did you risk your life? Donald smiled a small emotional smile. Because Victory. Since SS2, he paused, breathing deeply. You were the only girl I ever wanted to talk to. The only girl I couldn't forget. Her eyes widened. I waited so many years, he continued, hoping to see you again. And when I found you washing plates, something inside me broke. Victory's tears fell again, slow and warm. So yes, he whispered, I would fight for you. 1,000 times. She stepped closer, slowly, gently, and whispered, then, don't stop. Donald's breath caught. Victory looked into his eyes, her voice trembling. Don't stop caring. Don't stop being here. Don't stop looking at me the way you're looking right now. He touched her cheek softly. I won't. And then, her hands rose to his chest, his hands cupped her face. And in the quiet glow of the office lights, after years of distance, heartbreak, loss, and danger, Donald kissed victory. Softly, warmly, perfectly. The kiss tasted like freedom, like justice, like a new beginning. When they finally pulled apart, Victory breathed. What happens next? Donald smiled gently. Whatever you want, he said. Your life begins again now, and if you let me, I want to be in it. Victory held his hands tightly. Yes, she whispered. I want that too. Months later, Victory became the rightful CEO of her father's restored company. Donald stood beside her proudly at every board meeting. She didn't wash plates anymore. She didn't live in fear. She didn't walk alone. Justice found her. Love found her. Life returned to her, and the boy from SS2 became the man who changed her world forever. Please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more beautiful stories.